Many people have felt the pain of being cheated on, and even if you haven't, you probably heard a story from someone who has. So, when up-and-coming content creator IAmNotKenneth exposed his ex-girlfriend for cheating on him with her very own cousin, the whole world was in awe. This isn't a plot line from Game of Thrones, this really happened. And while many people are making jokes about the situation, they are actively ignoring the very real possibility that both of these people might have just ruined their lives. On June 4th, 2026, IAmNotKenneth exposed his ex-girlfriend Catalina on his YouTube channel.
My girlfriend cheated on me with her cousin.
Kenneth would go over in detail about how his ex would always be on FaceTime with her cousin. Initially, he didn't think it was weird until he discovered she was actually cheating on him.
I guess I didn't realize that they were sleeping on the phone together, that every time I would come near her, she would go on mute or whatever.
There's actually a funny story about one of my exes doing this. Well, not with her cousin, with an older ex-boyfriend back in the day. Maybe I'll tell y'all more about it in a different video, but basically Kenneth was walking by the bathroom when he heard Catalina saying a downright diabolical combination of words on the other side of the door.
I heard her say the word gains, as in like gym gains, and I heard yams come out her mouth. And once I heard that, I'm like, who are you on FaceTime with, and why are you talking about yams, man?
He has a litter robot with like a webcam on it, and it's placed in the bathroom. And what he found shocked everyone.
He was on FaceTime just showing straight yams to that. Like I'm talking about 360s in the camera, grabbing yams, just everything, bro. Just butt naked, bro. And at that moment, bro, my heart sunk, bro. I was like, damn, it's GG's. She just cheated on me.
Instead of immediately confronting her, he convinced her to give him her phone real quick. And then he locked himself in his room. What you're seeing right now are the messages between her and her cousin. There is a lot of receipts throughout this entire story, so I'm just going to summarize it, but at any point in time, feel free to pause the video and hit that subscribe button for me. They're sending each other messages like, every time I think of the future, I always picture you in it. Like, I'll be thinking this isn't going to go anywhere, not because neither of us don't want it to, but because it can't, and that'd be messing me up. I really wish we just weren't cousins. We both agreed we'll always be close no matter what, so you know you'll still be here kinda, if this has to end. Implying that they're in a relationship together and it's not just them messing around on the side, like they are together. And in each text like this, she reciprocates the energy and even hints at her being heartbroken before, which she actually talked about a little bit in one of her earlier clips.
But back when I was like, I don't even know the age, to be honest. I was young. I was just hitting puberty. Me and my cousin,
L story, yep, get
we
to the
kind of had a thing. We kind of had a thing going. But like, it was kind of one-sided though. It was more so me. But like, I remember like, I had a big crush on this because we were best friends. And at the time, being best friends with a guy when I'm just hitting puberty and like my hormones are a little bit like peaking, you know what I'm saying? I kind of associated him with that.
I guess she couldn't hold on to the weight of such a dark secret because why are you even revealing this to the public? It's clear that they didn't even know how to process their emotions because they have things like promises and talks about sacrifice. I just find this really funny. Like, you two are grown adults. Sure, it's pretty nasty about what you're doing with the whole
loving your family thing
and the way that your kids will end up becoming super deformed. But if you two aren't even having kids, then just live your best life. I mean, at this point, the whole world knows your business. You might as well just go for it.
And I seen tons of explicit photos from her and him. I genuinely was throwing up. I'm not gonna lie, you could ask all my homeboys. I was calling them. I was in my restroom throwing up just nonstop, bro. Everything I ate prior to that, I threw it all up, bro. It was sick.
Honestly, I would be sick too. He provides this video at the end where she says some stuff that I just want to point out real quick because they all come back at later parts in the video. You know, before we get to the responses that will likely ruin at least one of their lives.
This is something that I only did recently.
For some reason, she straight up lied about how long she's been doing this. She also does this weird thing where she tends to use very loaded words. For example, here she says her and her cousin were going through something psychological growing up.
We always had a close relationship since we was young, and I think like I'm so mentally up shit. I think like we had some psychological going on when we were young because like when we was little chicks, like before even puberty, like we were like really close to where like some of our family members would notice it.
Which implies there was some kind of nefarious situation they were placed in. But if that's the case, she never mentions it throughout this entire thing. And lastly, this.
And you know, with you've always been different than how I wanted you to be.
Yeah, remember this. This is very important.
I'm sorry.
I don't care.
It would take 5 long days for Catalina to issue a response on the situation. And finally, on June 9th, 2026, she uploaded a video simply titled, My Truth. And as I said before, this video is likely going to ruin either Kenneth's or Catalina's life. So we will tread carefully. No jokes in this part. Bro was bringing her to the goon cave, but surprised she cheated.
See what's going on, bro? Look at the energy you attracting, bro. I have never seen a with a goon cave street sign. What are you doing?
I am here to say my truth and share my story on the things that have been released on the internet.
We don't care about your truth. We care about the truth.
First and foremost, I want to start off by taking full accountability for what I did. But our relationship was not picture perfect.
I want to start off by taking full accountability for what I did.
She tells you she did something, but never explains in this video what she actually did. Catalina, being accountable means owning up to the mistakes that you made and not making excuses. And half of this entire video is just you making excuses. Our relationship wasn't perfect, so I had sex with my cousin. It's all your fault, low-key.
And you know, with you've always been different than how I wanted you to be.
And that right there is the work of the reputation saver that you was emailing and your YouTube manager told me about, bruh. He told me that the moment I exposed you, that you was emailing people trying to figure out ways how to come back from this, bruh.
I'm not sure how he even managed to get this information. YouTube managers generally just push creators to use certain new features on the platform. So this is probably just a third party she hired that isn't from YouTube. Why would that third party spill the beans to Kenneth? Isn't that the definition of fumbling your own bag? Hi Catalina, my name is Redacted and I work in brand strategy, public relations, and crisis management. I recently became aware of the situation surrounding the allegations. The fact that they put allegations in quotes is genuinely hilarious. This email is insane. And the resulting public discussion online. While I understand this is likely an overwhelming and stressful moment, I wanted to reach out because I believe there is still a clear path in protecting both your reputation and your long-term career. One of the first things that stood out to me is the decision to delete your social media accounts. While that reaction is understandable given the volume of attention and criticism, it often creates an unintended narrative vacuum in the absence of communication. I don't know why I'm doing this voice. The reality of the situation is that she never had to say anything aside from, I cheated and messed up. If she just kept streaming like nothing happened, sure, she would have gotten clowned for a few months, but after a while people forget or they straight up just stop caring. Here's some free game to any up and comers out there. Acknowledge, say your piece, then ignore it moving forward. Literally every time you bring it back up, you revive it. The problem with Catalina is that not only did she not do that, but then she literally... You'll see.
First, I want to address the note that was released online. I did not have any involvement in creating it or writing it in any way. It was only shared to me.
The note Catalina is talking about here is her alleged bucket list. Yeah, this girl had a list full of sexual fantasies that she shared with her cousin. I'm not saying she's lying, but I will show you this list from her Twitter page that looks pretty much the same.
It's a shared note. You have to literally damn near accept it. Am I tripping? Some of the stuff that's on there doesn't even make sense if he wrote it from his point of view. The internet is not that stupid.
I also want to make this very clear. I did not have any sexual intercourse with anybody outside of my relationship.
You had an alleged bucket list full of sexual fantasies with this man. Pictures of his Johnson in your cell phone, and you was even going on trips with him.
You was in the hotel room with your cousin. You kept on telling me you was going on these trips. You went to Puerto Rico with your cousin. You went everywhere with your cousin.
Kenneth provides some screenshots here, and I just want to say, dude, can you please stop flashing these on the screen like most of your video is talking head? In one of the screenshots, he talks about going to a main event with presumably her cousin, going to a college campus, getting picked up by him and her uncle, even going out to, quote, smoke sometimes, but she clarifies she usually just ends up talking with her cousin alone in a car.
Firstly, I want to clear up that I wasn't disowned by anybody, and I still have a great relationship with my mother. This was a fallacious rumor that was started by someone that I thought was a friend, and is completely untrue.
Whoever started this rumor should burn at the stake.
My family does not agree with the choices that I made, but they're standing beside me as I continue to get help.
You know, your parents were literally calling me and threatening me to delete that video because, I don't know, they were threatening me with so much stuff that was just so uncalled for. And I don't know, it just seems like they're more biased to you than what's actually going on.
Dude, are you really going to be surprised that a loving mother and father are mad at you for airing out what's, let's be real, unnecessary drama? Yeah, she did you wrong, but you actively chose to expose her. You could have just said she cheated on you, the relationship is over, and that's that. But no, you came to the internet, blew up this lady's entire family, and to be clear, I'm not criticizing you for dropping it, it's funny as hell, but don't be surprised when her family is mad at you for airing out everything the world doesn't even need to know about.
He alleged that I did not want to publicly claim him, and I wanted to hide our relationship from the internet. But in reality, in the first year of us being together, we actually had a popular couple page.
This girl literally would make excuses not to post me because her fan base was majority guys. She kept on telling me that she had a lot of mods that would gift her subs and she would use them, bruh. She would literally use y'all, bruh.
This is so common in the industry, it's actually not surprising at all. Hell, even Pokimane is running this exact method right now with her neighbor. I could make a joke about how a lot of online girls are secretly evil and using men, but the fact of the matter is we live in a very patriarchal society, and unfortunately a lot of guys only watch and support women because they think they can get with them, or they think it helps their chances of bridging that gap. Of course, there's an even bigger argument that as an entertainer, no matter the gender, you yourself become a product and therefore an object to viewers. But that's a whole rabbit hole I don't have time for, but let me know in the comments if you want a video like that on my second channel.
I also want to make it clear that any cousin or stepbrother or any content like that we made together was his idea, and he convinced me to do it. First time trying Arby's with my cousin. Take a bite.
Why was you pretending to be her cousin?
Do you think that was my idea? She did not want the internet to know that she had a boyfriend because it would make her lose followers. She kept on telling me that, and I wish I had screenshots from when, bro. I don't know what's going on my iCloud. I'm trying to get messages from like early 2024 to 2023, but I can't, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, the iCloud thing is sus. Kenneth doesn't say it, but she's telling the truth. They did in fact have a couple's page called Ken and Kat, and there are still a bunch of public high view videos out there with them doing TikTok dances on his main page. Turns out Kenneth rebranded the Kat and Ken page around the time they first broke up. But yeah, and as for the cousin thing, it's pretty unreasonable to think it was Kenneth's idea. With the knowledge of these other TikToks, this would have just implied Kenneth was her cousin and she was dating him the entire time, which sounds like an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong level twist. And keep note of the fact that she acts like this was completely out of her control. She does this the entire video.
The streamer Snowcone made up a false rumor that I admitted myself into a facility in order to get attention from my ex. I was involuntarily admitted into a facility because I was considered a threat to myself.
So this was like 5 days before I posted my video. She kept on blowing up my phone, spamming my phone, no caller ID, text messages, calling my friends, and kept on saying, can I get back with you? Can we please work this out? I'm going insane. I'm going to, and then she was calling me in the hospital, bruh.
To summarize everything in these screenshots, Catalina is literally begging this man repeatedly. A lot of this is actually just her saying, I'm sorry, and I love you, but she also never completely takes accountability. Like she never says, I cheated because I chose to. Instead it was, I was manipulated, I was vulnerable, or the classic, it was your fault. Your condition made me insecure. She literally says that.
What? Well, not literally.
It's always other people. It's never, I was horny. My cousin convinced me. Baby girl, we all know you didn't need much convincing from your cousin. All of these apologies are more about her losing Kenneth than it is about her betraying him. I need you to respond so I can feel okay. I. It's all about her. Then she straight up offers to buy him a Hellcat and a golden doodle. And also she'll somehow get him into streamer university. You know what? Game is game. Say, how about you slip into my DMs? All I want is the Hellcat and you. Yes, you, to subscribe to this channel for me. All of these messages boil down to 3 ideas. I need you. It was everyone else's fault. I'll fix everything. Catalina, you cannot fix betrayal by doing this. It's just unhinged. I just wanted to feel love. I'm so sorry I ever doubted your love. I think your condition in recent months aided in me having these doubts. These worries that you didn't want me, weren't sexually attracted to me. So it's his fault? Also, do you really think telling Kenneth he doesn't even need to be present in the relationship will win him back? In one part she says, even if Kenneth was completely checked out, she'd be fine with having a kid with him. Not only would something like this be unfair to the kid, it would also be Keep in mind, this will definitely be brought up again because I have a sneaking suspicion Catalina is going to project a bit. Spoiler alert, she totally does.
The moment she got out, she literally posted it on the internet. That's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
I'm not gonna lie, she's in the wrong here, but this entire situation,
that's a personal thing that nobody had to know. But because you want to go ahead and post it on the internet, you want to gain sympathy. Before, it's like you almost knew that I was going to expose you for cheating on me with your cousin. Because why are you going to the internet about you being in a facility? If you're really trying to like fix your head and get yourself right. Like, bro, that's sympathy farming. That's not something that needs to be on the internet.
Something about this point really rubs me the wrong way because she just got through a self-inflicted heartbreak and she was obviously distraught over losing you. Okay, she fafoed, got hit with karma. Cool. But the situation is over at this point. No reasonable person would have expected you to drop the first video.
How long ago was that you found out?
2 weeks ago, but I ain't gonna lie, it took a minute for me to come to the internet with this, so that's why it's like so late. That's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
That ass just destroyed a family, potentially.
And to paint her as a malicious person for simply talking about getting out of a facility she was literally forced into against her will, it just feels off to me.
Me and my ex were involved in a toxic and abusive relationship. When I was in love with him, I was blind to the harmful behavior and abuse that was going on.
Okay, before we get to the career-ending allegations that ended up in the defamation lawsuit, you know, the potential cancellation of IAmNotKenneth, I do want to point out that in both of the emails he showed and in these screenshots, a lot of key information that would be smoking guns in most situations are blurred out. For example, the initial email from the crisis management person, the name is completely marked out on both the header and in the email itself. And in the correspondence about the Zoom link, it's from a person with a completely different profile picture. Could say this is probably somebody else that's on their team, but honestly we don't have enough information to even definitively say that. Not to mention the initial email didn't have a picture at all, which is very strange for an actual representative from a reputable company. Plus, even in these texts you could claim he just wants to protect the identity of the cousin by blurring out the names, but then why didn't he blur out Jackie's name at the bottom here? Why not give us at least a couple letters from the cousin's name to ease us into believing she's actually referring to him in these messages? And with that being said, I want to make it clear that these are all allegations. These are just what is online being sent and said by 2 people. I'm not saying any of this is true or not true. I'm just showing you everything that is online in one place here in this video. So you make up your own minds about it.
Toxic and abusive. This is what they always do.
Our relationship was built on unhealthy emotional attachment, and I stayed because it was all that I knew. He was my first boyfriend. He was my first everything.
Bro, there were so many times where I tried to get away from you. At TwitchCon, bro, I was in LA with my boys, bro, and you was literally calling me, telling me that you was finna, you know, I care about you. I don't want to see you do that to yourself. Bro, keep in mind, TwitchCon was in San Diego. I was in LA. She started saying she was gonna do that stuff, saying how sad she was. This was like when we broke up or whatever, back in like TwitchCon last year. And then I drove all the way from LA to San Diego because she kept on threatening to do that to herself. I have tried to leave several times. Yes, this was a toxic relationship, but stop trying to put the blame on me. You did what you did, and now you're trying to change the narrative to make it seem like I was a toxic, abusive boyfriend. Like, how can you do that right now, bruh?
And I met him when I was 18, just graduated high school, and he was 21.
First of all, you was a freshman in college, and I just turned 21, and I was literally a junior in college.
You would think with such strong feelings about power dynamics, we would dethrone the Epstein class, but no.
We had a lot of arguments throughout our relationship, which was normal. But what wasn't normal was the verbal, mental, and physical abuse that he subjected me to. He put me through a lot in the past 2.5 years of us being together. He even forced himself on me at one point.
Oh, I really hope she didn't hire anyone to write this script for her. Jesus Christ.
First of all, I've never forced myself on her. I've never forced myself on her. I've never put my hands on her. I've never done any of the sort.
For some reason, he goes on this tangent from her being freaky to her being an addict. On the upside, we can clearly see that she had a problem with smoking and drinking. He even gets her to admit to forcing him to smoke and drink, which is an all-time clutch move from Kenneth.
She was literally in the hallway crashing out on me because I did not want to smoke and drink.
For example, he would punch things, he would rip wires in the heat of conflict.
I've never punched. What are you talking about, bruh? And yes, I ain't gonna lie, early back in the day, I did have slight anger issues or whatever.
What? Dude, you need a PR team. Why would you even say this here?
But I would never touch her. I would never put my hands on her. This is already on the internet. She's, every single time we break up, she goes to the internet and talks about this. She's talked about this already. So why is she bringing this up again?
And that's the core of this entire part of the video. This went from a simple apology to Kenneth getting exposed for past terrible behavior. Also, yes, she's reading a script in this video, just like I'm reading a script right now in this video. And that's all thanks to our sponsor, you. Thank you for watching Evil.
He would yell at me when I cried, and he would gaslit me until I believed I was the problem. There were 2 or 3 times where my ex would approach me unprovoked and put me in a chokehold against the wall, and I would tell him to stop because I was scared, and he wouldn't.
Put you in a chokehold? Anybody that knows me in real life, does that even sound like something I would do?
This is such a terrible response. This is such a terrible response. This is such a terrible response. Most criminals, not saying you are one by the way, most criminals keep their activity hidden from others. There's literally thousands of videos online right now of spouses, friends having their entire lives flipped upside down because their friend or family member chose to hurt someone and then they later got caught. This happens all the time.
The next thing I'm about to say are serious allegations that I know men often get falsely accused of. All I can do is come on here, tell my truth, tell my story.
We don't care about your truth. We care about the truth.
There was a time where me and my ex were drinking and he forced himself onto me.
Low-key using the entire manipulation maxing loadout with no cooldowns on their ultimate. Gaming.
Every single time we drank, she forced me to drink. She would always say, I want to see you blackout drunk. I want to see you drunk. I want you to just get loose and do whatever. But that's not the point.
No, you already proved she forced you to smoke and drink. Then she even agreed to that accusation. Literally, if we flip the roles, a guy always forcing a girl to be intoxicated or under the influence would not only be seen as predatory, but extremely manipulative. And not to mention, if he's engaged in relations with her after doing so, it would make him a... And yeah, it definitely doesn't excuse you potentially, allegedly ignoring her consent, but it at least gives you a more favorable defense. Because she could just be airing out the truth on some mutually assured destruction type of timing.
Because I've never forced myself onto you. Never. Every single time we did something, we had consent. You know why? Because you're the overly sexual one. I'm not always trying to have sex because I believe there's more to just sex, bro. You're always, every single day. Bro, when we were long distance, we was literally cracking every single day, 2 times a day. And the moment I told her, I don't want to do it, I can't do it, she would gaslight me, say I don't love her. She would start crying. She would just force me, bro. Bro. And then when she moved over here, obviously I see her every single day. So it's impossible to do that every single day. And I think that's what got in her head. And that's when she started saying stuff like, I thought you didn't like me no more.
How often a week would you say y'all woof?
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. Once or twice. You never touch me no more. And that's when I guess she cheated on me with her cousin, but I don't know. That's just what she wants y'all to believe.
Bro, this response. Finally, thank you. This is something we can clearly hear in this recording.
And you've always been different than how I wanted you to be.
And also clearly read in this message. I just wanted to feel love. I'm so sorry I ever doubted your love. I think your condition in recent months aided in me having these doubts. These worries that you didn't want me, weren't sexually attracted to me, because you wouldn't kiss me or touch me like you used to. This perfectly maps onto what he just said. And if you remember, she even offered to buy him stuff and get him into Streamer U. Kenneth perfectly showed us her controlling behavior in regards to substance abuse and her possessiveness in regards to spamming his phone. Y'all remember what I said about projecting? At this point in the video, if Kenneth accused her of violating his consent, with what we've seen already, he would have an excellent case to make against her.
And it hurt, and I cried, and I begged him to stop. but he never did. At the time of my essay, he was very rough on me, which resulted in me getting a cut on my insides. Luckily, I was able to take video footage of the blood on the scene and a graphic photo of the damage that resulted.
Okay. Saturday, July 13th, okay? 2 days before your birthday. There's blood on the floor, right? There's no way out of this one. July 18th, the same year, by the way, a couple days after your birthday, there's blood on the sheets and on the pillows. You know why? You always wanted me to crack. Always. Even when you was on, your period. You thought if I didn't do it, I would think of you as disgusting. I didn't love you. I always had consent because that's what you wanted. You liked doing vampire sets. This is a hotel, by the way. The sheets get changed. It gets clean.
While we can't discern what kind of blood Catalina is showing inside of her video, I can at least confirm that Kenneth is telling the truth in regards to the hotel situation. If we look at the map Catalina provided for us here, a simple Google search can easily pull up the Lazy Dog restaurant that's in Stafford. And right in the area her pin is located, there's a Red Roof Hotel with a 4.2 star rating. To be clear, this doesn't prove that he didn't essay her or do anything horrible to her in that room, but it does at least give credence to the fact that they were located in a hotel, implying that at least part of his story has a high likelihood of being legitimate. However, one could easily ask, why would she take a video of the aftermath like this on her phone randomly? If they really were into this kind of play together, wouldn't this be a regular occurrence and not very noteworthy at all? The last thing I want to point out is that in her video, although her proof is about the length shown as 9 seconds, the audio is completely removed. Even if I bumped up the volume of her video to max levels, there's literally nothing there, not even room noise, which means she purposely muted this video before throwing it in. Could be a smoking gun, or it could be a nothing burger, but it's something to take note of.
Always had consent. I had proof from you. You always expressed how you wanted to do it during that time of month, and we did.
After all this abuse, I formed a trauma bond with my ex, which made it hard for me to leave and left me in a cycle of half-hearted apologies that I continue to accept.
We broke up tons of times and she always ran to the internet. Why, if this really happened, why was this never a talking point in every single time you streamed once we broke up?
This was a memory of mine that was heavily repressed because I didn't know how to process it at the time. I was very oblivious to what a healthy relationship was supposed to look like.
Matter of fact, why was this never brought to the police? Why is this only coming to the light now?
After 1 year of mental torment and trying to get my ex to change to no avail, I left. Here's proof of my ex admitting to his anger issues and admitting to the abuse that led to the fallout of our relationship.
I'm not gonna lie, these messages low-key cook him because he writes a 5-part text thread, basically admitting that he has a huge problem with arguing and taking it too far. I am someone with a great amount of pride and anger issues. In the heat of a disagreement, I hold on to my pride and I argue till I die. That's what I've been told by many people. Just not you. I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume he means not just you in that last one. He also details this cycle of how he essentially first denies his feelings. Like, man, whatever, she tripping. And then, after anger, it is the sadness, the crying, the wanting to harm, the worst of the worst. He goes on to explain how he realizes he's a bad boyfriend, and if he doesn't change, he's going to have to see her grow, and not only grow but flourish, and he's going to be stuck behind, reminiscing over what they used to have. He talks about this weird dream where he's basically watching her from a distance. You were shining, glowing like the sun, doing you and prospering. And I believe no matter how close I tried to get, I couldn't reach you, and immediately when I woke up, I started punching my bed. Like, why is this my reality? This message pops up a lot of red flags simply because he's processing his anger in an aggressive manner, literally punching his pillow. I'm not saying that this equates to him putting his hands on her in any way, just that people will notice, and I'm definitely not going to ignore it, so it's worth pointing out.
I still have the letters that he wrote for me where he confessed to his abuse and confessed to the wrongdoings that he put me through in our relationship.
The next thing she shows off are these letters that Kenneth himself confirmed are from their first breakup.
This was like our first breakup, by the way. We have like 4 more. This has to do with me trying to get you back after the first time we broke up because I had anger issues. And I agreed that I would yell a lot but I've never put my hands on you. Never did that. Never.
So these letters are even worse than the screenshots. She showed off 4 separate pages, but if you count how much she flips through them, it's about 6, 7 of them. Kenneth, if you have the original document, you could probably shed some light on it. But back to the letters. The most damning things he says are, I was constantly raising my voice, acting erratically, and mentally abusing you.
Damn, that's crazy.
Kenneth calls himself a toxic person and even talks about a time where he was out with some friends that he had ghosted and they told him that he has anger issues, and he even admits that when he gets angry, he becomes a different person and starts calling people a bunch of insults that I will not repeat here in this video, but you can read it if you want. Dude literally acknowledges that he caused her pain, trauma, and psychological distress, which is insane to think he actually even typed this, because who types something like this? It sounds like a PR letter. These text messages and letters prove that he was at least abusive in the past. It ironically makes most of her claims true in her video, and the worst part is we all watched him essentially agree with her in his video.
I also have a screenshot of a 20-minute confession where he confessed to his wrongdoings, and he made it for me in order to convince me to continue being in a relationship with him. I tried to re-access the link in order to showcase the video for you guys today, but it was sent by him and it was privated by him, so I no longer have access to it.
Kenneth never offers to provide this recording, but going off of what we already know, it's probably just more of the same stuff that was already shown.
My ex often tried to use money as a way to avoid responsibility for his shortcomings.
Pot calling the kettle black, I suppose. There's this whole response here about money. She's basically trying to say she wasn't a leech in a relationship and everything he chose to spend his money on was his decision, implying that she didn't manipulate him to buy her things. He responds and calls out the fact she never spent money on him, and she even had her own mod constantly send her money. And honestly, the entire next section,
that's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
After all of these gestures, I took my ex back in February of 2025. And in March of that year, after leaving him from the airport, I was set into a spiral of losing myself and wanting to seek therapy.
That's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
Here's the video I recorded after leaving my ex.
Like, I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like, I feel like I just need to listen and get help from other people in my life or maybe therapy. But I think like a lot of stuff that's been going on like in my life, like I need to stop pretending that I'm sorry, just so like non-descriptive, but I just kind of want to put everything out because I'm breaking points in my life right now, but it's not your problem at all. But yeah, I just in that sense, I need to listen and go do better.
That's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
I had sent this video to a friend. By the way, she sent this to the guy who sends her every single dollar she had to her name. His name was Etz. He basically was a sugar daddy. She would FaceTime him at times. He would often pay for her Ubers, pay for her rebookings if she missed a flight, pay for all of that.
You know, this in combination with the whole not wanting to post him accusation makes me wonder if her and X had a thing going on behind the scenes. But I guess we'll find that out in court.
I will be taking this girl to court. Like, you're not finna fucking like that's defamation of character right there.
The next and final thing I would like to discuss is my mental health.
Oddly enough, she starts to revert back to regular apology video stuff here, and it's a little jarring, but there's a couple things I want to make note of. She talks about how mental health is stigmatized nowadays, which is just not true at all.
Mental health is so stigmatized.
Mental health is such a touchy topic to push back on nowadays. Criminals are literally getting thrown back in the public repeatedly because of what they're diagnosed with. Apparently, she even tried to delete all of her saved files multiple times in the past few weeks.
Throughout the past few weeks, I've attempted to multiple times, and the only reason I'm here right now is because I failed.
This means every time he accused her of trying to get up out of here, he probably was telling the truth. She starts talking even more legalese than I do in my videos about how the facility apparently mistreated her.
The toxicity that I was admitted to was an abrasive environment that only made me regress more.
Again, this is pretty off-putting because it feels like she's going to take them to court for mental distress or something. I have no idea why she even included this after accusing her ex of SA, but yeah, we're skipping over it because what?
I do believe that bringing all of this to the internet and the way my ex did was completely wrong and invasive.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing that nobody had to know.
What I did is undoable, it's terrible, and I can't tell you enough how much I regret it. However, I do want to come back. I do want to be able to use my platform to raise awareness for mental health.
You can't just do whatever this is for 15 minutes and then expect to start streaming again after a short break.
I will be back to streaming, and I will be back to doing what I love.
Who the hell do you think you are? You just accused this dude of SA in front of the entire global audience. The lawyers are already serving up the first drafts to your mailbox. You better pray Discovery goes well. Everything gets revealed in Discovery. Everything. If you're lying about this in any way, it's completely over for you. And if you're telling the truth, you could have done this entire thing way better. Your PR person is a amateur. Your script was trash and it sounded like a robot wrote it. This entire time you never even admitted what you did. Are you trolling right now? What did you do, Catalina? How can you even apologize for something without ever clarifying what you did?
What I did is undoable. It's terrible. I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of when I did what I did. I know I've done wrong, and in doing that, I've come to realize that I need help. I'm not trying to make anything I've done sound any better. I know I've done wrong. I need help.
Also, we're not pretending you didn't crack your cousin. That is not happening. Second, Kenneth. Are you out of your goddamn mind? You are getting exposed. Your life and career might be completely over. The last thing you want to do is yell,
I'm the victim. God, bro, like, I'm the victim.
And then go on a tirade about what qualifies as real depression.
What type of depression makes you send nudes to your cousin? That's not depression. Why do girls always play the I'm depressed? I'm depressed, so I went ahead and spread my legs and took pictures down there to send to my cousin because I'm depressed. In my house, by the way, in the other room, by the way, door is locked. I always wondered why the doors were locked, but you know, it makes sense now. It makes so much sense.
Even if she is found to be completely in the wrong, this simply comes off as disgusting. Everyone can clearly see there's something mentally wrong with this woman. I mean, come on, even you admitted she went to a mental health facility and even threatened to log out. And don't forget you admitted to being abusive earlier in the relationship.
Not a single tear in those eyes, by the way. And she's reading a script.
If you keep this up, your career is going to have one of those fancy tombstones. You shouldn't be responding to allegations of this degree this carelessly. The only thing you should be doing is sticking to the facts. Leave the rants for regular videos.
Like, I hate how you're trying to make it seem like you was trapped in here, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, I fought demons to leave, yo, bruh. I tried leaving several times, bro. Several times, but each time I tried to leave, it was, Kenneth, please. I'm about to manipulation. I have videos of your cousins meet. I have videos of this down there in your they were in your Snapchat camera roll with your cousin. Y'all exchanged nudes tons of times. I will be taking this girl to court. Like, that's defamation of character right there. People who make false allegations need to get arrested, bro. So like I said, I will be taking this to court.
You see how I just cut out all the rambling? I hope so, because that's the only way something of this magnitude should go. I mentioned Jordan Pauline, but if you have no idea who I'm talking about, tap the video on the screen right here to see how she ruined her entire streaming career. Boom, there you go.